Hey guys, my name's Sergio, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to program in C++. This video series is going to help you guys whether you have a little bit of experience with programming or if you have none. We'll go ahead and walk you through some of the basics, and right now we're going to go ahead and get started using this online compiler. Now, we will be switching over to an IDE, which is just a more sophisticated programming software later on. But for now, we're going to go ahead and stick to this online compiler so that most people who are starting out can go ahead and follow along for the first couple of videos. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. For C++, there's a couple of things that you need to include in every program, and this is just to get the structure of your program ready to go. You can see it here. It's usually, I like to keep it at pretty modular, so I separate some of the libraries here and my main function. So you might see me add when we start using math, we'll add, for example, the math libraries here and keep the namespace alone. So, but anyway, you should just know that this is how every C++ program is pretty much structured. You're going to have your libraries, your namespace, and then your main function. Go ahead and just memorize this layout because it's pretty much just going to be repeated one program after another after another. So let me go ahead and just explain to you guys what this layout consists of. So in the first line here, you have your library. So we put in here the pound include IO stream, and that's just a library that your compiler can refer to so it can know what commands you're giving to it. So right now I'm gonna print to the command line, which is just down here, and we're gonna use a command called cout, and that cout command is actually part of the IOStream library. So when you compile it, the IOStream library lets it know that command, what it does, and how it should go about printing it to the screen. Next, we have the using namespace. And the STD just means it's going to be the standard namespace, and that's just so it makes our commands pretty much so we don't have to type STD, which is standard. I promise. It doesn't stand for it just stands for standard. And then the name of the function that we're going to do, and what we want it to do. So in order to avoid having to type the STD namespace every single time, we just go ahead and let it know that that's what we're going to be using. And then we have our main function, which is right here. Now this is where the meat of your program is usually going to end up going. We'll go ahead and run a couple of sample commands right now, just to get you started, just so you can see how the layout works. But for now, know that this is the main function and this is what's going to run most of your programs. It's important to also note that it returns a 0, and that's mainly because this main function is an integer function, so it has to return some sort of integer. This is mainly for debugging purposes, but just go ahead and remember it has to return some sort of, it needs to return 0. So as long as you leave the return 0 here, you should be fine. So let's go ahead and make a quick print out to the command line. So I know you guys probably don't know the commands right off the top of your head. So let's go ahead and start with a very simple one. It's going to be cout, and then the extraction operator, followed by a string. I'll explain what all these variables and data types are in a little bit, but this is just so you can see how the structure of just a very simple hello world program is. So right here we would have one line of code And what this is just telling you to do is to print out, that's what that cout stands for, print out the string hello world, and then print an empty line. So once we go ahead and click here, compile, what it's actually going to do is going to check the code for any errors. And if there's no errors, then we can go ahead and execute the program and actually see the results. So right here we compiled and we can see that there were no errors, so we can go ahead and execute it. And we see here, hello world. Well, I misspelled that. So it's world. There you go. Okay. So this should be pretty much all you need to know for your basic setup of a C++ program. As long as you can remember to keep these 8 lines of code in every one of your programs, you should be good to go for just starting your programs.